You're scrolling through YouTube or Instagram on a random Sunday afternoon, and you see one of those videos, how I became a millionaire in 18 months or turned $1,000 into $1 million with this simple trick, . For a second you think, wait, am I missing something? Because you work hard, you make a decent income, but when you open your bank account, it definitely doesn't look like millionaire progress. So naturally you start wondering, is building wealth actually possible, or is everyone online just exaggerating? Here's the thing. A lot of financial advice online falls into two extremes. On one side you have the get-rich-quick crowd, crypto secrets, day trading systems, drop shipping hacks. On the other side you have the super slow advice. Just invest for 40 years. And maybe you'll be comfortable when you're 65. Neither of those answers is very satisfying. But what most people don't realize is that building real wealth doesn't take 40 years, and it definitely doesn't happen in 6 months. But 5 years? 5 years is actually enough time to completely change your financial life if you focus on the right things. In this video, I'm going to show you the realistic path to building serious financial momentum in the next 5 years, not the flashy version. The version that actually works. My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time thinking about building my wealth. If you're someone who struggles to build wealth, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Okay, let's start with the first uncomfortable truth. Wealth is not built through saving alone. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't saving money the entire point? Well, yes and no. Saving money is important, but saving alone is like trying to fill a swimming pool using a teaspoon. Here's what I mean. Let's say someone saves $300 per month. That's actually better than most people. According to data from the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money. So saving $300 per month is solid. But let's look at the math. $300 per month equals $3,600 per year. Over 5 years, that's $18,000. Even if you invested that money and earned around 8% annually, you'd end up with roughly $21,000 to $22,000. That's good, but it's not life-changing. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because the biggest driver of wealth in the first 5 years is not investing, it's income growth. Here's what most people don't realize. Early in your financial journey, your most powerful asset isn't your savings account. It's your earning ability. Think of your income like the engine of a car. If your engine is small, no amount of clever steering will make the car go fast. You need more horsepower. And the same is true with money. If you increase your income, everything else becomes easier. Saving becomes easier. Investing becomes easier. Debt disappears faster. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine two people. Person A earns $3,000 per month and saves 10%. That's $300 per month. Person B spends the first 2 years improving their skills, negotiating raises, or building side income. Their income increases to $5,000 per month. Now they save the same 10%. That's $500 per month. That difference alone adds up to $12,000 more savings in 5 years. And if the gap grows even larger, the difference becomes massive, which leads to the first step in building wealth in 5 years. Increase your income. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, Jack, if it were that easy, everyone would do it. Look, I get it. Income growth doesn't happen overnight. But most people underestimate how much their income can grow in 5 years. 5 years is enough time to learn a valuable skill, change careers, start a side business, negotiate multiple raises. In fact, data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that workers who switch jobs often increase their salary 10 to 20% on average. Do that twice in 5 years, and your income could look completely different. But income alone isn't enough. Because here's the second trap people fall into: lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, and suddenly you upgrade everything: better apartment, better car, more expensive habits. Before long, your income increases, but your bank account stays exactly the same. This is one of the biggest wealth killers, and psychologists actually have a term for this: hedonic adaptation. Your brain quickly gets used to improvements in lifestyle. That new car feels amazing for about 3 months, then it becomes normal, and suddenly you want the next upgrade. Which is why step 2 is crucial: lock in your savings rate. Here's a simple rule that works incredibly well. Every time your income increases, save at least half of the raise. So if your income increases by $1,000 per month, you automatically invest $500 of it. The other $500 you're free to enjoy. This prevents lifestyle inflation from stealing your progress. Now, this is where the investing part finally comes in, because step 3 is about making your money work. Once you have consistent savings, those dollars need a job. And historically, one of the most reliable tools for long-term wealth has been broad market investing. For example, the S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% annually, on average over the last century. Of course, markets fluctuate in the short term, but over longer periods, consistent investing has been one of the most effective wealth-building strategies available. Let's do a quick 5-year example. Suppose after increasing your income and controlling lifestyle inflation, you invest $1,000 per month. Over 5 years, that's $60,000 invested. With moderate market growth, that could become around $70,000 or more. Now here's what most people don't realize. The real magic isn't the 5 years. It's the momentum you build during those 5 years. Because once you reach that level of investing, the next 5 years accelerate dramatically. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine spent his early 20s constantly stressing about money. His savings were tiny. His income barely covered expenses. But he made one decision. For 5 years, he focused on 3 things only: increasing income, avoiding lifestyle inflation, and investing consistently. Nothing flashy. No risky trades. Just discipline. 5 years later, he had over $80,000 invested. More importantly, his income had doubled, which meant the next 5 years were going to move even faster. That's how wealth actually builds, not overnight, but through compounding momentum. So if you want to build wealth in the next 5 years, here's the realistic roadmap. First, focus on increasing your income. Your earning ability is your most powerful financial asset. Second, protect yourself from lifestyle inflation. Save at least half of every raise. Third, invest consistently in long-term assets that grow over time. And fourth, stay consistent for the full 5 years. Because here's the truth most people don't like hearing. Wealth doesn't come from one brilliant decision. It comes from hundreds of small decisions repeated consistently. And look, 5 years from now is going to arrive, whether you prepare for it or not. The only question is what your financial life will look like when it gets here. Will you still feel stuck? Or will you have built the kind of momentum that makes the next decade completely different? Because sometimes the difference between staying broke and building wealth is simply choosing a better strategy and giving it enough time to work. If this video helped you think about money a little differently, hit the subscribe button. And I'm curious about something. Where do you want your finances to be 5 years from today? Let me know in the comments, because that future starts with the decisions you make this year.